Hi, I'm Steve Bolander, and thank you for joining us on the Videonics MX-1, A Perfect Mix. In the next hour, we'll explore the operation and capabilities of this amazing new digital video mixer. You will quickly find out that your new MX-1 can perform virtually any video task that you ask of it. This video can either be used by itself as an instructional tool, or for best results, you can use it as a companion to your Videonics instruction manual. We will cover every feature and function that the MX-1 has, and will take you from connecting your MX-1 to your video system to creating special effects that were not even mentioned in your instruction manual. We know that you're anxious to get started, so let's take a quick look at the MX-1's features and show you how to initially connect it to your other video equipment. Congratulations on your purchase of the Videonics MX-1 digital video mixer. And welcome to the world of multiple video source mixing, switching, and special effects generation. This videotape that you're watching was designed to get you started with the necessary connections and the basic operation of the MX-1. We recommend that you view this tape once in its entirety prior to hooking up the MX-1 to your video editing system, and then watch it once again as you connect and begin operation of the MX-1. Before we begin introducing the MX-1 to your video setup, let's take a quick look at what this digital video mixer can do. The Videonics MX-1 digital video mixer is a video production switcher that is capable of receiving the outputs of up to 4 different video sources. You may plug into the MX-1 any combination of VCRs, video camcorders, title generators, television tuners, or even the video output of most home computers. Once connected, you may perform a variety of transitions between any 2 video sources, such as wipes, dissolves, straight cuts, flips, tumbles, and a number of combination wipe and dissolve transitions. A quick note, up until recently, all of the previously shown transitions required the use of special time-based corrected VCRs, television studio cameras, a separate digital video effects generator, and a very expensive video switcher to combine all the various video inputs. Needless to say, these effects were only available to high-end production companies and television networks. However, thanks to the technology created by Videonics, all of these video transitions have been made accessible on the MX-1 for a mere fraction of the price. The MX-1's mixer and switcher functions are only the beginning of what your new digital video mixer can do. In addition to displaying multiple video sources, the MX-1 can also produce background colors as well as borders that will be of a color decided by you. There are 9 preset background and border colors built into the MX-1, and a custom-made color of your choice can be created for a total of 10 background and border colors that can be used in transitional wipes or in a special function called the Compose mode. Most digital video mixers allow you to perform an effect called picture-in-picture, where one video picture is compressed into a box and placed over another full-screen picture. Sure, the MX-1 can do that, but only with the Videonics MX-1 can you create an infinite number of picture-in-pictures of varying sizes and shapes, combined with background colors, lines, and borders. An entire video collage can reside right on your television monitor and be recorded into your video production. The MX-1 can take any video source and add a variety of digital input effects, such as changing your entire color video picture to black and white, or transforming your normal picture into a negative. A reverse image can be a mirror image of your original picture, or how about turning your whole world upside down? And adding a touch of Mosaic. Turning on the strobe will slow down your frame rate, and when combined with the black and white mode, you can recreate the look of a film camera. And Posterization and Solarization can turn an otherwise ordinary scene into a beautiful oil painting. The MX-1 performs several keying functions, such as luminance key, where the darker portions of one video picture is replaced by another. However, the most popular key effect that you're probably familiar with is Chroma Key. You've seen the weatherman on the evening news pointing out the cold fronts moving in from the east. You've also seen your favorite superhero leap from building to building in a single bound with no strings attached. And you probably even wondered how you might be able to join your favorite TV star on his show. The effect that you're watching is called Chroma Key, and all it takes is a solid color background of, let's say, blue or green, a video camera, and the Videonics MX-1 digital video mixer. You just stand in front of the background and the MX-1 fills in the background color with whatever scene you like. Tell me that this effect isn't going to keep you up at night thinking of the possibilities. So let's take a few minutes to connect your new MX-1 into your video system. To get started, here's what you'll need. One or more video sources such as a camcorder or VCR, ideally at least 2 video monitors, another VCR to record your work onto, and the necessary video cables to make the connections. Begin by placing your MX-1 on your editing workstation somewhere in the proximity of your other video equipment. Connect the included power supply to the back of the MX-1 and plug it into a nearby outlet. Attach a video cable to the video output of one of your video sources. If your camcorder, VCR, Laserdisc player, or video-equipped computer has an S-video output jack, use an S-video cable to make this connection for the optimum results between Super VHS and High Band 8 video equipment. If this type of connection is not available, merely use the composite RCA-style jacks and the respective cables. Connect the other end of this video cable to the number 1 video input jack on the MX-1. If your video source emits audio, then connect the audio outputs on your camcorder or VCR to the audio inputs on the MX-1 next to your video connection. If you have a second video source, such as a camcorder or VCR, connect it in the same manner to input number 2 on the MX-1. Third and fourth video sources can also be connected at this time if you have them. Use either an S-video cable or an RCA-style cable to connect the main video output of the MX-1 to your recording VCR, which should already have a video monitor connected to it. For demonstration purposes, you can bypass the connection to a recording VCR and connect the MX-1 directly to a video monitor. This will be called your program or output monitor. Make a connection between the preview output on the MX-1 with your other video monitor with an RCA-style video cable. And this will be your preview monitor. If one of your video sources is a camcorder, turn on the camera section and remove the lens cap. Or leave it in the playback mode and begin playing back a pre-recorded videotape. If your other video sources are either VCRs, Laserdisc players, or title generators, place them in the play mode. Now you can turn on your video editing system, beginning with the power to your video sources, followed by your recording VCR and or monitors, and then the power switch on the MX-1 digital mixer. What you will see when the MX-1 is first turned on is the Videonics logo screen, followed by your number 1 video input source displayed on your output monitor, and the preview screen displayed on your preview monitor. At the top of the preview screen are 4 miniature preview images, which show the pictures of all video sources connected to the MX-1, as well as the currently selected background and border colors. The lower half of the preview screen displays the available transitions. Let's try one of them. Use the arrow key on the MX-1's control panel to move the cursor on the preview screen over and down to transition number 15. Tap the speed button on the control panel until the number 3 appears in the bottom of the transition box. Now push play on the MX-1's control panel and you will see a picture shuffle transition between your 2 video input sources. Let's try that again. This time use the numeric keypad on the MX-1 to enter the number 22 and press the OK button. As you can see, transition effect number 22 has become highlighted, and that will be the type of transition that takes place when you press the play button on the MX-1. Another way of performing a transition is by manually moving the T-bar on the MX-1 from one position to another. You can even stop the transition in progress by placing the T-bar halfway. There are over 200 different transition effects on the Videonics MX-1, and getting to them is as simple as using your arrow key to move the cursor from page to page on the preview screen, or just by entering the transition effect number into the numeric keypad and pressing play. Included with your instructional manual is an MX-1 digital video mixer reference card that lists every possible transition effect and its respective number. Other electronic video editing equipment such as color correctors, edit controllers, and title generators can be connected to the MX-1 digital video mixer. Generally, there are 2 ways of adding these devices into your editing system, either upstream or downstream. Upstream connection means that you connect your video processing device after your playback camcorder or VCR and before it enters the inputs of the MX-1. This permits the adding of titles or video processing only to that one playback device rather than everything that goes into the MX-1. Downstream connection means that you place your external video processing device after the output of the MX-1. thus adding titles, color correction, or other video processing to everything that goes in and out of the MX-1. For example, if you want titles generated over an entire transition between two of your playback sources, you should connect the title generator downstream or to the output of the MX-1. If you use an edit controller that emits a GPI pulse, you may connect that to the input jack on the MX-1 labeled GPI, or General Purpose Interface. What this does is automatically trigger the play button on the MX-1 at desired transition and edit points. And if you want to just add a remote control play button to your MX-1, you can do so by wiring a push button on-off switch to a stereotype mini plug using only the tip and sleeve contacts on the plug. There are two user setup screens that you can access on the MX-1 to define how the inputs and outputs are assigned or affected: the regular setup screen and the advanced setup screen. When you first turn on the MX-1, it defaults to a factory setting of inputs number 1 through 4 being assigned to sources A through D respectively. This includes both video and audio connections. And if there are playback sources already up and running when the MX-1 is turned on, then either the RCA style composite or the S-video jack on that particular video input will automatically be selected and activated, depending on what type of connection you have made from your playback video source. You may reroute any of the inputs to different source positions by calling up the setup screen. This is done by pressing the setup button, and you'll see the setup screen displayed on your preview monitor. At the top of the setup screen are your A through D sources, and below those are the figures that represent the rear panel's inputs. The A, B, C, D buttons on the bottom of the MX-1's control panel lets you select the source to which an input is being assigned, and the arrow key on the control panel permits you to make your selection. As an example, let's say that you want to assign your camcorder's playback video signal, which is connected to the number 1 input on the rear of the MX-1, to both the A and the B source. First, make sure that the A source is highlighted in green, and then use the arrow key to move the lower screen cursor to input number 1. If your camcorder is connected by way of an S-video cable, then select S with the cursor. Otherwise, select V for RCA-style video inputs. Now use the A, B, C, D buttons on the bottom of the MX-1 to select B, and you'll see the B source in the setup screen highlighted in green. Once again, use the arrow key to place the cursor on the same input as you did before. At this point, your camcorder's video signal will be playing back through both the A and B sources. One reason that you might want to do this is if you want to add inputs effects to, let's say, the A source, but not the B source, so that you can obtain combination effects such as this. Just remember, you'll have to reset any of these changes on the setup screen anytime you turn off the power to the MX-1 and then back on again. When you press the Shift button and the Setup button simultaneously on the MX-1's control panel, you'll get the Advanced Setup screen displayed on your preview monitor. The Advanced Setup screen permits you to change the factory default settings on the headphone volume, the time-based corrector frame rate lock, the video noise filter, the black level, and the composite chroma automatic gain control. Use your arrow key to move the cursor left and right to make a selection of which parameter you wish to change. And also, use the arrow key in an up and down fashion to actually change the parameter. To raise the volume of the headphones, place the cursor in the first box, and use the arrow key to raise the volume from 0 up to 9 or anywhere in between. The second box regulates the MX-1's built-in time-based corrector. In the 0 position, the time-based corrector compensates for the possible inaccuracy between your playback video sources and the regulated speed of the time-based corrector itself. In the number 1 position, the time-based corrector frame rate lock is disabled. Under almost all circumstances, leave this in the 0 position. The third box on the Advanced Setup screen engages a video noise filter that should only be engaged when you detect the presence of picture lines, shredded pictures, or other unwanted video artifacts. You may adjust the noise filtering in any or all of the connected video sources by selecting the appropriate source at the top of the setup screen using the A, B, C, D buttons on the MX-1's control panel. The fourth box allows you to choose between two different levels of black for your background colors and border colors, either 0 IRE or 7.5 IRE. Normally you may leave this in the 0 position unless you are working with other video equipment that requires a slightly less dark version of black. And if any of your RCA style composite video inputs have a weak color signal, you can engage the automatic gain control in the fifth box to automatically boost the color level. Select number 1 to engage this function. By the way, this control will have no effect on any of your S-video inputs. The MX-1 uses both its control panel and the preview screen to control all of its various functions. So any function that you select on the control panel will be indicated on the preview screen. If you want to take a quick look at what the MX-1 can do effects-wise, connect at least 2 video sources to it and press the demo button. This will place the MX-1 in the demonstration mode and begin showing off all of its various special effects and transitions. Take the time to watch this demo, if nothing else to give you an idea of what you might want to do when you are performing your own video productions, and to see what digital video mixers like the MX-1 can do to get from one video source to another. To exit the demo mode, just press any other key on the MX-1's control panel. The preview screen on the MX-1 displays 4 miniature monitors to show you what's going on with your various input sources. As you can see, the frame rate of these miniature monitors is slightly slow, and if you need to see a more accurate depiction of what your next inline upcoming video source is, you may press the display button on the MX-1's control panel once. Pressing this button again will display the same picture that you are watching on your output monitor. And pressing the display button once again returns you to the original preview screen. There are a total of 5 select buttons across the top of the MX-1's control panel, each one representing which video input source is currently being sent out of the MX-1 onto your recording VCR and/or output monitor. The first 4 are for external video sources connected to the MX-1. And the 5th button is for calling up one of the MX-1's built-in background colors. Whichever source is selected will be indicated by a solid light above the button. To change the background color from one to another, press the back color button repeatedly until you see the color that you want. That particular color will also be displayed on the top right corner of your preview screen. There are 5 more select buttons at the bottom of the MX-1's control panel. These buttons are used to select whichever video source that is going to be up next when you perform a transition, and its respective selection will be indicated at the top of the MX-1 with a flashing light. As an example, let's say that you want to start with your A video source, which might be your camcorder playing back a videotape. Press the A button at the top of the MX-1. And let's say that you eventually want to transition to, by way of a dissolve, to the B video source, which may be a VCR playing back a videotape. So press the B button at the bottom of the MX-1. Now you will see a steady light above the A button and a flashing light above the B button. And at the top of your preview screen, you will see the A video source with a highlight box above it and the B video source with a highlight box below it. When you press the play button to activate the transition, you will see a dissolve between these 2 video sources. Just think of the top row of input buttons as the current video selection, and think of the bottom rows as the upcoming or next selection. And you can treat the background color just as if it was a video source. So if you want to fade the current video source out to black, just make the background color the next inline input and dissolve to it. By the way, anytime that you perform a transition between 2 video sources, the transition will be displayed on both the output monitor and the preview monitor. Since the MX-1 has a built-in time-based corrector and a digital video synchronizer, You can direct switch between any two video sources merely by pressing any of the top row of current video source buttons. This is called a straight cut, and it will take you directly from one video source to another without going through any special effect type of transition. Another way to go from one video source to another is by performing a relatively fast dissolve between two video sources. This is done by selecting transition effect number 1, selecting a transition speed of about 8 or 9, and pressing the play button. You can also refer to this type of transition as a soft cut. There are over 200 types of video transitions available on the MX-1. The first 30 that show up on your preview screen are some of the more frequently used transitions, such as dissolves, straight wipes, slides, flips, and bounces. You can stroll through the other available transitions by using your arrow key to go left or right and up and down through the various menus. And whichever box becomes highlighted, that will be the actual transition that takes place when you press the play button or move the take bar, which is also known as the T-bar. A faster way of getting to a specific type of transition is by pressing the large transition effects buttons on the MX-1's control panel. You can pick between fade or dissolve, wipe, zoom or picture-in-picture, or flip. Selecting either of these buttons will immediately take you to the menu on your preview screen that contains these types of transitions. And then you can use your arrow key to pick the specific one that you want. And if you keep your quick reference card handy, you can just look up the type of transition that you want, note its transition number, and enter that number into the MX-1's numeric keypad. After you've entered that number, you can immediately press the play button to activate that transition, or you can press the OK button to place that particular transition in the standby mode. In the bottom left corner of the numeric keypad is a button labeled Reverse. This can be used to literally change the direction of a given transition. For instance, press the Reverse button to make a wipe that normally starts from the left side of the screen start on the right side of the screen. And if you always want a transition to reverse itself every time a transition is effected, press the Shift and Reverse button simultaneously. Now if a wipe goes left to right during the first transition, it will automatically go right to left the next time a transition takes place. When you first turn on the MX-1, two lights near a button labeled Audio Video will be illuminated. This means that any audio connection that you have made will accompany its respective video source when a transition is performed. In other words, if you transition from source A to B, the audio from your A source will fade away as the audio from your B source fades in. This is called Audio Follows Video. You can disable this feature by pressing the Audio Video button until only the lower light or the video light is lit. This means that only your video transition will take place and the audio will remain the same. This is called audio stays. And of course, if only the upper light or audio light is lit, then only the audio will change from one source to another while the video remains the same. Headphones may be connected to the headphone jack on the MX-1. And even though you might plug in stereo headphones, you will only hear a monophonic audio signal. There may be instances where you might want to bypass the audio functions of the MX-1 altogether. If that's the case, just connect all of your audio sources to an external audio mixer and feed its respective output directly to your recording VCR and/or output monitor. As mentioned earlier, you may select any of 9 factory preset background colors, which are actually colors numbers 0 through 8, to be a video source to transition to, or to be the background color in the compose mode. Or you can define your own background color on color number 9 by selecting it and holding down the Shift button while you press the numeric keypad's numbers 1 through 6. Pressing Shift along with number 1 through 4 will raise or lower the tint of the color. Pressing Shift with number 2 or 5 will raise or lower the overall level or saturation of the color. And pressing Shift with number 3 or 6 will increase or decrease the lightness of the color, ranging from dark to light. It should be noted that your custom-defined color will be lost when you turn off the MX-1's power. A colored border may be added to various transitional wipes, and you may obtain them by repeatedly pressing the Border Color button. To turn off the border color, just press Shift and Border Color at the same time. You may add a variety of digital video input effects to any or all of your video input sources by first pressing the Input FX button. Then select which input that you want effects added to by pressing any of the next in-line source buttons at the bottom of the MX-1's control panel. And this will highlight on your preview screen which video source you will be working with. To add input effects to, let's say, input source B, press the B button at the bottom of the MX-1's control panel, and then use your arrow key to decide which type of input effect you would like. Anytime the number 0 appears in a box, that means that that selected effect is turned off. Otherwise, each type of effect may have a numeric value of 1 to 7 depending on which effect that you select. The first effect box, when engaged, turns your color video picture into black and white, a great effect for simulating a dream sequence or perhaps days gone by. The second box converts your video picture into a black and white negative. This can be used for adding a touch of mystery to your video production. The third box is a color negative, which can be used as a special effect, or if you're transferring photographic negatives to video, you can engage this to convert the negative into a positive. The fourth box literally creates a mirror image of the original picture. An interesting effect is to assign the same video input to both the A source and the B source, and then add this mirror image effect to only the A source. Now combine the two video sources on screen with a vertical straight wipe to achieve what you see here. The fifth box takes your video source and turns it upside down. Once again, you can combine the same picture that is right side up for some interesting effects. The sixth box engages 3 levels of mosaic that can either fill an entire screen or be combined with the same video input source that is unaffected by way of a box wipe and placed over the face of your family's ugly cousin or crime syndicate informer. 7 levels of strobe are available in the 7th input effects box. Levels 1 and 2 can simulate the look of movie film that has been transferred to video. You can either combine this effect with black and white alone, or take it one step further by adding a slightly brownish or orangish tint to your video. This is done by having your primary picture called up in the current video row of buttons and the background color of brown or orange called up in the next inline row of buttons. Select transition number 1, which is a dissolve, and use your T-bar to perform a partial transition between the video picture and the background color. Input effect box number 8 adds 7 levels of paint or posterization to your video picture, which can literally give your video an oil painting look. And the last input effect is Solarization, which essentially converts the lightest portions of a video picture to darker. This effect works best with very bright portions of the video, such as a reflective water or a bright blue sky. Any currently displayed video picture on your output monitor can be frozen by pressing the freeze button on the MX-1's control panel. Once frozen, you may transition from this freeze frame picture to any moving picture by selecting the appropriate transition and by pressing the play button. It should be noted, however, that once a transition takes place to another video source, the original frozen picture will be lost. If you have a frozen picture and you do not intend to transition to another video source, you may release the frozen picture by pressing the freeze button again. An effect called stop motion can be obtained by pressing the shift and freeze buttons at the same time. Now anytime you press the freeze button, it will capture whatever video scene that happens to be going by while a video source plays back through it. Press either the play button or the shift and freeze together again to exit the stop motion mode. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. Nah, it's just some guy with an MX-1 digital video mixer playing around with the Chroma Key. Chroma Key is a feature built into the MX-1 that permits two different video sources to be combined together at the same time by taking the video from one source and filling it in on another source where a specific solid color has been defined. The weatherman on television merely stands in front of a solid blue wall, and wherever the video camera and the MX-1 sees the color blue, it just fills in that color with another video source, such as a weather map. The reason blue is typically the color of choice when using Chroma Key is because human flesh tones do not include any tints of blue, and it's just easier not to have your key subject wear that particular color. Here's how you set up the Chroma Key function. First, use the top row of video source select buttons to pick your background scene, such as a weather map or aerial video footage. Next, select the video source that will be keyed into the background video by pressing the appropriate bottom row of video source buttons. In other words, if your video camera that is aiming at the key subject and the blue wall are assigned to the C video source, then press C in the bottom row of buttons on the MX-1's control panel. Now you may turn on the Chroma Key function by pressing the Chroma Key button on the MX-1. You will notice that the preview screen is replaced by the full image of your key subject and the solid background color behind her. And you will see a small flashing cursor in the center of the preview screen. Use the arrow key to move the flashing cursor onto the solid color background and then press OK. This will tell the MX-1 that this is the color that you want to replace. Since it is difficult to obtain a perfectly even background color, you might have to move the cursor to other parts of your solid color background and press OK again to tell the MX-1 that these particular shades of your background color are also to be included. Repeat this procedure until all portions of your background color are replaced with images from your other video source. If you accidentally place the cursor over your key subject and press OK, you can undo that by pressing Shift and OK at the same time. To fine-tune the Chroma Key effect, hold down the Shift button while you press the up and down arrow keys to adjust the brightness range on your key subject. Or hold the Shift key while you press the left or right arrow key to adjust the color range of your key subject, or foreground picture. A quick word of consolation. Chroma Key takes some time and patience to set it up properly, so don't feel bad if you have to spend 20 or 30 minutes fine-tuning the Chroma Key levels or adjusting the lighting that you use to illuminate both your key subject and the solid color background wall that he or she might be standing in front of. Once everything looks good on the preview monitor, you may press the play button on the MX-1, and your entire Chroma Key effect will appear on the output monitor. It should be noted that you may freeze the incoming background image by pressing the freeze button, and if you like, you can dissolve your foreground or key subject by using the T-bar. To get the multiplying person effect that you saw at the beginning of this videotape, just use your camcorder to record yourself onto tape, and then play that tape back through the MX-1 as the background footage. You may now key yourself in again, this time as the foreground key subject, and record that effect onto tape. Just keep repeating this procedure until you've seen enough of yourself. If airplane travel has become too expensive for you, and you just want to do it yourself, lay across a table that has a piece of cloth draped over it that is similar in color to your background wall. Try to get most of the wrinkles out of the cloth so they won't show up as different colors. Now just go through the same process for teaching the MX-1 what background colors that you're using, and commence rolling your aerial footage on the current row of video source input buttons. To get out of the Chroma Key mode, simply press the Chroma Key button again. Included at the end of this videotape are a weather map and some various aerial footage for you to use through your MX-1 as background source video. The MX-1 digital video mixer is capable of producing color bars, which are generally used to adjust your color video monitors into proper alignment prior to performing your editing. If your video monitor is properly aligned, then you will know whether or not your video footage has accurate color qualities. And it's a good idea to record about 60 seconds of color bars onto the beginning of your video productions, so that other people playing back your tape will know how to adjust their video monitors to attain the best color from your videotape. To display the color bars, first press the Compose button, followed by pressing the Shift and Color buttons at the same time. Initially, the color bars will appear on your preview monitor. To display them on your output monitor, press the Play button. Picture-in-picture means that you can have a full-size picture screen with a secondary video source compressed into a box and placed anywhere on the full-size screen that you want. Just like in setting up the Chroma Key mode, select your primary or full-size picture from the top row of video source buttons on the MX-1's control panel. Now select from the bottom row of video source buttons the picture that you want to have compressed into the small picture. Hold down the Shift button as you press the Zoom PNP button. The preview screen will display your two picture sources, and to move the picture-in-picture box to another location on the screen, just use your arrow key to position it. And to make the picture box either larger or smaller, hold down the Shift button as you press either the up or down arrow keys. You can even change the aspect ratio of the box by holding down the Shift button as you press the left and right arrow keys. And if it suits you, you may freeze the full screen picture by pressing the Freeze button. Colored borders can be added to the picture-in-picture box by pressing the Border Color button. And once you're pleased with the size, shape, and position of your picture-in-picture, you can press the Play button to display it on your output monitor. And like the Chroma Key mode, you can use the T-bar to dissolve the picture-in-picture in and out of the screen. The Compose function on the MX-1 permits you to create a video collage of frozen pictures, lines, solid colors, and backgrounds onto one screen. Before you actually enter the Compose mode, you must first select what background you want to use to place your composed pictures and designs over. Once again, select the background from your current video sources on the top rows of buttons on the MX-1. Your background can either be a moving video picture, a frozen video picture, or a solid background color. Now you can turn on the Compose mode by pressing the Compose button. Initially, you'll see a flashing rectangle box on your preview screen, and you can use the very same procedure as described in the previous section about picture-in-pictures for sizing, shaping, and moving the box about the screen. Once that is completed, you can decide what you want to place inside of the box. And this is determined by which next in line button you press in the bottom row of video source buttons on the MX-1. For example, if we want to insert a picture from the B source, we simply press the B button in the next in-line row of buttons. And as soon as we either move the rectangle box to a new position, or press the Border Color button to add a new border, or press the Freeze button to freeze the picture, that particular picture will become frozen. Now we can create another composed video still by selecting another next in line video source button. It can even be a background color if we choose it to be. However, before we select that specific video source, let's change the shape of our flashing rectangle a little bit. Now when we select the next video source, it will fill in that particular shape box. If you want to place a colored line in your composition, simply create a long and skinny rectangle box and fill it in with the color of your choice. And if you want to cut a hole in the composition to let the original background video show through, then size and place your flashing box before you press the Shift and OK at the same time. Once you're satisfied with your composition, you can send it to the output monitor by pressing play. And of course, the T-bar can be used to dissolve back and forth between the original background picture and the compose screen. Pressing either the compose button or the display button will cancel the compose effect and erase the entire composed picture. Just as the demo mode performs a sequence of transitions and effects quickly and smoothly, you can literally create your own custom sequence of effects by using the Learn mode. To set up a custom sequence of transitions and effects, press the Learn button, and you will see the power light on the MX-1 flash off and on. Now perform a series of transitions by either using your arrow key to select the next transition or the numeric keypad or large transition effect button to call up your next transition. After you've completed all of the transitions that you want to take place in a sequence, press the Learn button again and the power light will stop flashing. From this point on, to play the sequence that you have created, press the Shift and Play button at the same time. The preview screen will momentarily go blank and the power light will flash rapidly. Now, anytime that you press the Play button, each progressive transition within the sequence will take place. The transition can also be affected with the T-bar or the GPI trigger if one is connected. Pressing the Shift button and Play button again will take you out of the sequence playback mode. Or using any other function other than the Play button or the T-bar will cancel the sequence playback. You may have heard the term A-B roll editing. This refers to the playing back of two video source tapes and performing transitions between them. Simply put, your primary playback VCR or your camcorder is your A player, and your secondary VCR or camcorder is your B player. You can, however, simulate this A-B roll transition using only one playback video source, and we might want to call this an AA roll edit. It's done by playing back your single video source footage through the MX-1 and recording that onto your recording VCR. When the end of the scene comes up, press the freeze button on the MX-1 and immediately pause your recording VCR. Now use your playback video source machine to find what will be in the next scene. Once it is queued up, start both your playback and recording VCR and immediately press the play button on the MX-1 to transition from the frozen picture of the previous scene to the live footage of your new scene. In addition to displaying the 4 miniature monitors of your video inputs on the preview screen, you may also instruct the MX-1 to scan all 4 images and display each one of them for about 2 seconds on your output monitor. This is not only a great way to view your video inputs prior to an editing session, but you can also use the MX-1 in an industrial capacity where perhaps 4 security or surveillance cameras at different locations are all connected to the MX-1. To begin automatic scanning, press the Shift button and the Fade Dissolve button at the same time. And of course, to end the scanning, press any other button on the MX-1. A nice clean way to superimpose titles over video is to create your titles on a title generator using a solid color such as blue as the background color for the titles. As a matter of fact, the default background color setting on the Videonics title maker is an ideal color for this procedure. Once your titles are created, feed them into the MX-1 as a separate video input and assign its respective video source to the next in-line row of buttons. Assign your live video footage to a current video source and turn on the Chroma Key. Now go through the same setup procedure described in the Chroma Key section of this videotape, and your titles will become keyed in over your live video footage. Have you ever seen the TV commercials where everything is in black and white except the featured product or person? This effect is called color blocking, and it's all done with your MX-1's Chroma Key section. Assign your video footage to two video sources on the MX-1, like for instance A and B. Call up the A video as a current source and assign the B video to the next inline row of buttons. Enter the input FX mode and convert your B video source into black and white, and then return to the regular screen. Turn on the Chroma Key mode, and on the preview screen move the cursor over to the object that you want to have remain in color, and press the OK button. After you've made sure that the entire color has been completely okayed as the Chroma Key color, then press play to send this effect to your output monitor. On the television show Entertainment Tonight, you can see this type of closing title sequence at the end of the program. It's done by pointing a video camera at a separate video monitor that is displaying your source video footage, then feeding your video camera's output into a title generator such as the Videonics title maker, and assigning the title maker's video output to the MX-1's current row of buttons. The actual direct connection of that video source is fed into the MX-1 and is assigned to the next in line row of buttons. Create a picture-in-picture effect with the direct connection of your video source being placed inside of the picture-in-picture box. Size and place the picture-in-picture box at the top center of the screen. Now you can zoom in your camera onto the video source monitor and add a touch of defocusing. And whenever you're ready, begin scrolling your titles. In addition to the use of the strobe function to give your video that film look effect, you can mix in film static through your MX-1's dissolve transition to make it really look like an old movie. Film scratches, flickers, and all. Included at the end of this videotape is about 4 minutes of film static that you can use to combine with your own video footage. Who would ever think that today's technology could make your $2,000 state-of-the-art video camera look like an old Bell & Howell film camera that you bought at a garage sale? I'm sure that you've played around with a little effect called video feedback, where you pointed your video camera at the video monitor that was already displaying its signal. You can perform this effect electronically through the MX-1 by taking your extra video output, whether it be RCA style composite or S-video, and feeding that particular signal right back into the MX-1 by way of an available extra video input. An interesting effect is to set up a picture-in-picture and then manually with the T-bar perform a partial transition so that you see an infinite number of picture-in-pictures going off into infinity. Play around with the T-bar as you move your picture-in-picture box with the arrow key. You might even want to try this with some of the MX-1's built-in transitions. Well, as you can see, the MX-1 digital video mixer is literally an entire television studio built into one box. And it can be a very powerful video production tool. So take the time to learn the potential of your MX-1 and realize that its only limitation is your imagination. So thank you again for joining us on the Videonics MX-1, A Perfect Mix. And until next time, I'm Steve Bolander.